Hello, it's Mr. Wall here, and I'm going to be reading off a few things from the book by Joshua Field. The book is titled An Illustrated Field Guide to the Elements and Principal Designs of Art. So everything that I'll be reading off here is ripped straight from the book. So let's start off with the first principle, or element in this case. Line, which is the most basic element of art. It's a continuous mark made on a surface that can vary by length, width, and direction. So here a few examples of what lines can be. As you can see, we have a diagonal line, a squiggled line, a dashed line, spiral. All types of lines count under line. So now moving on to the second element, which is shape. Shape is a two-dimensional enclosed space you can measure length and width in. And there's also two types of shapes. There's organic and there's geometric. And what do I mean by this? Geometric shapes are simple ones like, for example, a square, a triangle, a star, or a rectangle. And organic is any other shape that does not fall into this category right here. So as you can see, I don't really have a title for these shapes, but these are more organic. They do not fall under the geometric side. The third one, and my most favorite one, is color. And according to Joshua Reed, color is produced when light strikes an object and reflects back in your eyes. And this element has two properties: hue, which is the name of the color, and the intensity, or the purity or strength of color. But a couple other things I'd like to go over also is we have our primary colors. And our primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. And our secondary colors are made up of the primary colors here. For example, green is made up of blue and yellow, purple is made up of red and blue, and orange is made up of the latter, yellow and red. There's also warm colors. As you can see, warm colors usually tend to be pinks, oranges, yellows, and reds, and cool colors are usually browns, blues, and purples and greens. The next one I'd like to talk about is value. Value is the lightness or darkness of a color, or how something is either lighter or darker. So for example, I have value right here. It goes from darkest to lightest. So this would have a heavier value right here being the black, and this is just lighter. The next one's really easy. Next is form, is a three-dimensional object, such as a sculpture or anything that can be found in a three-dimensional world, and is either geometric or organic, just like the other shapes. Now, I don't really have any picture for anything for form because I'm a form. This blanket behind me is a form. The phone that I'm currently filming on is a form. Anything that resides in the 3D world and goes beyond 2D is a form. Moving on to the next one. Space, which is space, and space is defined and determined by shapes and forms. So as you can see, all the elements start to relate into each other as we go along. So there's two things when it comes to space that I'd like you to know. There's positive space, is where shapes and forms exist, and there's negative space, or basically the background. So for example, right here, I drew the famous, is it a cup or is it a person? Or is it two people looking at each other? The positive space is the cup right here, and the negative space is all of the white that's around it. Now for the very last one, which is texture, and it refers to the surface quality or the feel of an object, which is either smooth, rough, or soft. Textures can be actual, things that you can actually feel with touch, and texture can also be implied or suggested texture. So basically what this means is I tried to do it the best I possibly could, but I tried to draw a little stick figure thing here that looks like it's really hairy, so which would be implied texture. Whereas my hands or my hair are actual texture. They both have completely different feelings. So one is real and one is not real. One is implied and one is actual. And so thank you. These were the elements of art, and I really hope that this, and along with the PowerPoint, helped you learn a little bit more about them.